camera off. I didn't know the camera.
The fucking camera, man.
Oh, I didn't think.
Are we going? We rolling?
Yeah. I just had to cut the camera. Okay, we're rolling. So,
We're rolling. What's up, man?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to I think we're going with 2KW is what Reed dubbed
I like
it.
2KW.
2KW flows pretty well.
Yeah, let's go with it.
So,
what's up, everyone?
what's going on?
Who are you? Why don't you tell the people who you are?
Yeah. I feel like hosting this is always so much different, and it's not. So, I am Kyle Maggio. I'm here with my good friend Anthony Corbo. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? You can follow me at Corbo Anthony on Twitter. Follow Kyle at Kyle Maggio on Twitter, and follow the Knicks Wall while you're at it. And visit the knickswall.com. I got you covered, man. How are you?
Good. Ready for tonight. Hopefully, I understand it's a tank year, but I'd like, not 9 straight losses. So hoping for that.
I would certainly say we're due. The Heat are an interesting team to play against too. They have a lot of moving, not permanent pieces on their roster. I'm interested to see where they end up in a couple of weeks. Do the Knicks have another game against them this year after tonight?
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I believe they have one more.
I'd be very interested to see how many players on both of these rosters end up playing in that next game together. So we have quite the uniform selection going on right now. I'm a big fan of it. That's Noah Vonleh there. Oh, we have a pause from Kyle Maggio. I think he's taming his dogs. I think that's what our big thing is right now. I hear some dogs barking in the background, and I'm just gonna keep on gerrymandering.
No. I'm here. We're good.
Here he is. How are the dogs, Kyle?
They're the dogs. They are who they are.
They are. Why don't you tell the good folks about your dogs for a second before we get into the content here?
Oh my God, that was an Alonzo Trier-esque lob into Mitchell Robinson that went to nobody.
I want to hear you talk about your dogs. I don't care. Listen, we're on game fucking 47 or whatever of the season. We're just awaiting some trades here. Tell me about your dogs for a second.
Melo is now roughly 105 pounds. Nobody really understands how or when it happened. Mason is still commander-in-chief. And that's essentially it.
Because Mason is probably 25 pounds.
Yeah, roughly.
Man. I mean, Melo is just... Oh, speaking of...
Oh, God, you did it. You took it away. I was going to do the transition.
You were going to do the transition while I got it first. I was going to say some real nice things about your dog, but I got to say some real nice things about the man. Carmelo Anthony apparently may be at Madison Square Garden tonight to watch his little buddy, Dwayne Wade, play his last game at Madison Square Garden. And I hear there may be a little bit of an ovation. What kind of response do you think Melo's going to end up getting?
I mean, he should get a standing ovation, or at least,
I hope so.
or at least a very loud cheer. I don't know. I don't know how he doesn't deserve it. I understand folks may still have their issues with him, but I think when you look in the grand scheme of it, I don't know how you can do anything else but applaud. We've had nothing for 20 years except for that little 2 or 3 year stretch of good basketball with him. So, I mean,
right, and that's largely due to Melo being the scoring leader of the NBA.
Right.
And just having so many pieces around him, shooting long twos like that. It all came together, and we had a glimpse of hope in the despair of the last, I don't even know how many years, but I'll never. I mean, the trade to get Melo obviously cost the Knicks a lot of pieces. Wow, I should have taken that. He had a lot of not successful years here, but he had a couple that were really great. But all in all, I mean, I can never stay mad at Carmelo Anthony. I just thought he had a lot for the team and gave us unbelievable wins.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely nuts as a Knick. I understand that people lament over the defense and maybe him being a little bit more selfless, and there are certainly fine criticisms, but largely he was one of the top 2 or 3 scorers in the NBA for his first 4 or so years here, and he was tremendous.
So many like scoring years in Denver too. I mean, where he just
Right.
he was just the face of the franchise, and he did everything for them. Even when Iverson came in, I mean, it was Melo over everybody. So.
And I like to keep the issues that people have with Melo to the on the court stuff, because there really wasn't much off the court stuff. I know.
I mean, he was always there. Yeah, I mean.
Always very professional.
Really complain about it. Yeah.
People basically take issue with the Jeremy Lin incident, which, as much as I've enjoyed Jeremy Lin's career, he ended up coming back down to earth and just being a very regular basketball player. A good basketball player, but very regular.
I'm not going to really give Melo that much grief over being egotistical. Like, he was kind of in a position to be egotistical. His game relied on a little bit of egotistical play. Obviously, he didn't want to be, the spotlight to go to Jeremy Lin, because that's just not a great look for him. And he knew what he could do for this team, and he obviously proved it, just the following year. So, he could have a down year, especially after, readjusting so late into his career. Like, I don't know. I find it hard to blame Melo. I'm not going to worry too hard about it tonight. But speaking of Denver, I wanted to ask you something real quick. I was watching Fizdale's comments after the most recent game against the Nets. He kept on talking about the Denver Nuggets as a team that kind of had to deal with 3 years of hell in order to have the roster and the success that they have today. I think he was trying to compare them to the Knicks and where the Knicks might be in a couple of years. Do you see a lot of similarities between the Knicks roster and what the Nuggets ended up developing into what they have now?
I mean, to a degree, and it's sort of like in a vacuum, but they basically had their one big centerpiece, Jokic on one hand, and for the Knicks, KP, and outside of that, Denver just kept adding good young pieces. Nobody was like a stud rookie right away, but Gary Harris was a nice young piece who's developed into somebody better. Same thing goes for Jamal Murray and, Will Barton, who they signed. And they just had a lot of young guys who grew. And again, no one piece was overly talented, outside of Jokic. And they've all just developed really nicely to play along with him. And I think that's kind of what he means. Like, hey, look, we have all these kids, all these rookies and sophomores that, we believe in. And I think most Knicks fans agree whether, we feel they're going to be players. I don't think anybody here looks like a bust. How good they're going to be remains to be seen, but I don't think anybody here is a bust. So when you have that many promising young kids, you sort of give yourself some better odds, I guess, to pan out. And I think that's mostly what he means. Like, it's just a good group, a pretty full group, and hopefully they're all going to develop into something in the next couple of years.
Did you see that brick from Frankie right
I
there?
did.
I have an interesting thought on. So when it comes to the Nuggets, I kind of want to wait for this quarter to kind of end out before we move on from there. But when it comes to the Nuggets, their biggest free agent acquisition since they kind of took a back seat to winning and developed their youth a little bit more, it's probably Paul Millsap. Would you agree with that? The most prominent player that they acquired as a free agent.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of something.
He was more homegrown. You look at Murray, that he was more homegrown. You have Gary Harris panned out. You have all these guys who they kind of raise up through their draft system, similar to how the Knicks are. Not high-profile picks or anything like that, but guys who they're able to develop, and that's kind of what the Knicks are looking to do now. So, I don't know, I consider Millsap to be that one extra piece that they, paid a lot of money for to try to send them over the edge, and, their success with him has been a little bit mixed, but if the Knicks were to acquire maybe a free agent of his level, alright, let's start with this. Is there any free agents who are on the market this year who are kind of you would say are as talented as Paul Millsap was when he signed with the Nuggets?
I mean, I'm thinking of one person in mind, because
I have a name in mind as well.
Millsap has always been a very B+ player to me. You know what I mean? Like, he's been very good and very consistent, but never a star, never a superstar. Just that little smidge below, in the very good tier. And for me, and phenomenal. For me, that kind of player, and he's the player I'm going to name is probably a little bit better than that range, but I think it's the closest. Chris Middleton. I think.
Oh, interesting. I have a different name in mind, but I think I would kind of maybe go the other way with Middleton, but I'm interested to see why you think that.
I just think having, the way we've seen Fizdale kind of use Knox this year as more of a ball handler, I think having somebody like Middleton you can put the ball on the floor, but he's best utilized, just jacking up a bunch of threes. And I think maybe put Middleton at the 3 or the 4 next to, Knox and KP at the 4 and the 5, and kind of mix it up that way. I think that'd be really fun and really dynamic. And, I mean, you could really stretch the offense out with that much shooting. And I mean, they'd have a really, really strong front court. So that's kind of the player that I was thinking about. Like, everybody's thinking about the Kevin Durant's and everything. And, of course, you think that and you try for that. But that next tier, like that Middleton and everybody else kind of range, that's kind of what I had in mind for that.
So the guy that I was thinking of, so when I think of Middleton, I probably think, again, very close. I think maybe a peg below what Millsap was when the Nuggets signed him, back in 2016. The guy who I think maybe is a little bit better than Millsap was, but kind of strikes me along the same tier, is Klay Thompson.
Oh yeah, no, but Clay's like a clearly better player.
Klay, back in 2016, I think that the margin between 2016 Millsap and 2019 Klay, I think is a little bit closer in credit. I think that Klay is definitely a better player, but I think that Klay maybe is the top of that tier. I don't think they're necessarily in a different tier from each other. And I think that if the Knicks made that kind of splash with like a Klay Thompson this summer, I think maybe, and the players continue to develop, they're developing, I think that, yeah, you might have a similar roster to what the Denver Nuggets kind of are dealing with right now.
I don't know, man. I think Clay's is definitely a star. I hear what you're saying, like maybe not superstar tier, but he's definitely a star.
See, I think you underestimate where Millsap was in 2016.
No. I remember where Millsap was, but I just don't think he was quite. I feel like he's on that Horford tier, Millsap.
Yes.
But anyway.
I want to talk a little bit more about one of the other storylines that have been kind of gripping me the last few days. Dejected Enes Kanter. It's incredible how just checked out he is now that he realized that he's just not going to play.
And
I gotta give all the credit, and I love him for it, is Mario Hezonja. His signing has become justified after he pinched Kanter and told him Mitch pinched Kanter, but he told Mitch to get the fuck up and cheer.
Yeah.
Man, that is just, that's A+. That's sportsmanship right there. It's just kind of frustrating. Do you think that dude might just be there for his team a little bit more? I don't know. He's not going to play. I get he's going to be out of here soon. It's just I don't know. He just seems very checked out.
Yeah, he's definitely handled this pretty terribly, and I had liked him last year, and I think he's a good guy deep down, but you got to be professional. I know everybody was trying to pin that communication issue with Fizdale on Kanter being Kanter, and I'm not saying he's absolved of any blame in that, of course, but I thought that one at least kind of fell on Fizdale. Like, you're the head coach, you should be able to communicate that. But
I think Kanter's probably trying to draw it out a little bit, but that didn't seem like it was on.
But at the end of the day, like, you got to be a professional. Like, if they aren't going to play him, they should buy him out. Like, that's the thing, and I feel like they
force the issue a little bit more, and I can't really blame him for it.
But the thing too is he is correct. Like, that's the issue here, is nobody wants to hear him talk about it, but he actually is right. Like, he always says the same stuff. Like, I'm 26. I get it if I was older. No offense to those guys, but I am young. I want to play, and he has his contract coming up. So he's not wrong. He's absolutely valid, and he should be frustrated and angry. But I think instead of just being public about it, you got to go and talk to Scott Perry and be like, "Hey, man, I'll do what you got to do, but can you just get me out of here then? Like, do a buyout, whatever. If you're not going to play me, and they honestly, it's very wrong of the Knicks to just not buy him out if they can't move him. Then if they're just not going to use him."
But at the same time, the Knicks don't have like any necessity to buy out. Like, the Knicks have every right to do whatever is most strategic.
Right, right, but
not doing it for him. Yeah. I
but
think they will eventually, but if they realize they're out of options. But I think that they're in no rush to, basically.
I think the problem is they're trying to change the culture too, and this starts to have shades of like, the Marbury D'Antoni incident and things like that, and
Yeah.
I think you should want to show that you're doing right by the players, and for that's gonna, the agents will help you out a little bit more, and that's the way I'm trying to look at it. Like, you should be a little bit more player friendly at this point.
I agree. I think that they will eventually, and I think that when push comes to shove, they have to respect the player in this situation. I think that they also need to send a message that you can't just basically pout and then we're gonna like kind of succumb to whatever you're asking for and everything. We're gonna do what's best for this team, and like we'll accommodate you as best we can. And I think that's kind of the better precedent to set, amongst all the players. So they gotta know that you have to take this seriously.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I think that's what they're doing right now. Is like, hey man, like we're gonna try to trade you. Like, we're not trying to buy you out. We're trying to trade you. But the thing is,
right.
I feel like at some point, that conversation hasn't happened. I feel like I remember they reported a conversation happened, but I feel like they didn't tell him maybe what they should have told him if he's still unhappy about the situation.
I think there are deadlines for a reason, and everything will get worked out before either the buyout deadline. Oh, nice. The buyout deadline for him to join another playoff team, or before the trade deadline. He'll either get traded, he'll either get bought out. I don't see him staying on this team after that. It's like there'll be a resolution here. He just needs to have a little bit of patience, basically. But another guy talking about maybe being traded earlier today was Trey Burke. He seemed to have a much more level-headed approach to it, where he's like, I realize that a lot of guys on this team are 19, 20, 21 years old, and are, everyone's kind of like allured by the prospect of youth. But, I'm a 26-year-old. I still have a lot of basketball left in me. I would, like to play again. So it seems like he's probably, and I think that it was known amongst Knicks fans for a while that he was likely on the trading block. But I see Kanter and Burke as probably the most likely players to be moved, in the next couple of weeks. And then we have a couple other guys we're hoping would be able to be moved as well. But at the very least, do you think Trey Burke is going to be off the scene before the next 3 weeks are out?
I think so, because I definitely think one of him or Moutier is going to go, and the way, and I honestly hope it's just a sell job by Fizdale and the Knicks, but they really seem to like Moutier, and from all accounts from the beat guys, it seems that way too. So it seems like Trey Burke's going to be the odd man out.
Yeah.
I'm just interested to see what they can get for him, because I don't think they're going to get anything for him.
Neither. I feel like he's given them a good couple of years, especially coming out of the G League, and I feel like everybody's kind of like, they fulfilled what Trey Burke had, what they promised to Trey Burke. Trey Burke fulfilled what he promised to the team. Now I feel like they can pretty much just go their separate ways without worrying too much. It's like they'd be lucky to get a pick back or something like that, but maybe like, I don't know, a roster player and cash or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, if they just get like maybe an expiring younger player or something like that, that'd be fine. Because if they got a second, I'd be like ecstatic. I don't think that's gonna happen,
Yeah,
but
much. I think that's the top of his value right now.
So
maybe he can be included in some sort of other trade, but yeah. But that would mean obviously Frank has been promised the backup point guard role so far, by Fizdale moving into the rest of the season, and obviously, he's starting right now with Moutier out. Do you think he has a chance at keeping the starting point guard role if Moutier's gonna be out a couple of weeks? If Frank performs well enough, like, what's he gonna have to do to keep that starting point guard role?
He's got to start having some double-digit scoring games. I've said it before, and I've said it again. Scoring is the most important skill in basketball. And as much as I love Frank and I believe in him to succeed in the NBA, he's not going to get the career that he wants or the Knicks want for him if he's not scoring. So Moutier's out 2 weeks. That's a really nice opportunity for him to put together some good games. And I actually think he was on his way to having a good game in Brooklyn on Friday night, but unfortunately he got into some foul trouble. But he looked really aggressive offensively. He was making a number of nice passes, both in the half court and on the break. In really limited minutes, the first 12 minutes that he played before the foul trouble, he had 4 points, 4 assists, a couple of rebounds, and a steal. So I think he was on his way to having one of those double-digit kind of stuff in the stat sheet nights, and foul trouble got in the way of it. So I'm sort of encouraged, oddly, and I've been very hard on him lately, so we'll see what tonight brings.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he's able to stay out of foul trouble. He hasn't shown like a knack for getting into foul trouble in multiple games, so I don't know. When we're playing against the Heat don't have the most dominant guards. Do you know if Josh Richardson is back in their lineup yet?
I do not know.
Yeah, we'll have to wait. I mean, I think at this point we're a little bit running a little long in this game here, but I think starting lineups have probably been announced already. But if he's not Richardson tonight, then he definitely has a chance at playing well without having too much of a challenge. I'm not sure if Dragic is back yet either for the Heat, but if those two aren't giving him too much trouble, Frank should definitely be able to lock up their guards pretty well, and hopefully be able to have a decent scoring performance. I mean, the opportunity seems to be here tonight for him.
Yeah.
So, but he's got 2 to 3 weeks before Moutier comes back. He's got a chance to really secure his role. I mean, this could be a big turning point right now for him, for the team,
Jesus.
for the rest of the season. So, I hope, it'd be nice to get a little bit of clarity on how this point guard race is going.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Moutier's until Frank gives him a reason not to. And for Frank to give him a reason not to, he's going to have to start averaging double-digit points. I know people are going to contest that, and that's because that's what it would take maybe for us to make the change. But as far as Fizdale and actual NBA, people who are hired in the NBA positions, like Scott Perry and co., you got to get point production too. Like the Marcus Smart guys are few and far between. Like you got to be offensively, yeah, you really got to play well. Like as much as we want it for him, he's got to want it too, and he's got to actually perform like that. So
Frank has not shown enough consistency on either the offense or the defensive end, to be considered in that Marcus Smart kind of role there. So definitely he needs a little bit more time before we get into that.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, we're playing against the Heat tonight. Are there any other matchups you're looking for? I'm kind of excited to see how much time we get to see Mitchell Robinson up against Hassan Whiteside. That might be a good offensive defensive battle. That we get together. How ready Mitch is for a little bit of more talented offensive players, and how recovered he is from his injury. Anyone else you're looking for out? Any other matchups you're looking at?
I know I don't want to be too Frank-centric, but I actually am curious tonight because Justice Winslow is now their point guard, and Justice Winslow for a few years was a small forward. So normally we talk about Frank taking advantage of his physical advantage, his physical tools, and I don't know that that's going to be the case tonight. And I say that because I think he actually might struggle defensively, not because Winslow is in phenomenal offensive talent. He's certainly a good player, but I just think Winslow's a lot stronger than he is at the same size, and I think Frank's gonna really kind of get bullied a little bit tonight. So I'm curious about that.
Oh man, it is tough to shoot free throws when it's laggy. All right, 12 seconds left. Oh, I can't see a damn thing. Alright, how we looking?
I love to see it. Big,
Good.
given that
Yeah.
kind of effort. Johnson running the floor with energy. He'll do anything to help his team. And at the end of the third quarter, a huge lead in the And there have been two very different performances from these teams today. We get going in quarter number 4.
Alright, 5 minutes left. I think I have a comeback in me.
New York with the ball.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that.
To Burke. To the inside. Some nice passing by New York here.
Oh, fucking hell, dude. How many fucking rim defenders you want to put at me?
Whiteside is the ultimate rim protector.
Oh, that would have been a beautiful Enes Kanter steal.
Wade from outside. Johnson right side. The three. Tipped away. And it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Wade.
So do we have any hope for returning back to his state of Florida? Maybe like he gets unlocked only in Florida or something like that.
I'm sorry.
I know it's not his old team, but he's gonna be back in Florida.
I'm sorry. You cut out. I couldn't hear you.
Oh yeah, I'm super laggy over here.
What'd you say?
I'm real. Yeah, this is real lag.
The shot's good from Kanter. And Whiteside's got the ball here for Miami. A nice shot by Winslow. And Smitty, if you had to boil it down to a single play in your career, what was your biggest moment? Kevin, I'm glad you asked that question. I can also get it out there to everybody in the basketball universe. Shaq fouled me, and they did not call the foul. Shaq fouled me, Kevin. That play still haunts me. I'm still after all
Yo.
these years.
Yep. I can hear you now.
Yeah. It's just super laggy over here. I don't know what's going on.
Let me know if you want to call it too, because the game's about to tip off.
Game's about to tip off?
Yeah, in like
Alright, yeah,
2 or 3 minutes. All right, folks. Well, thanks a lot.
plug it. Yeah, everyone follow along with the Knicks on Twitter. You're watching us play live on today. I don't know why I'm still focusing on this inbound. We're done here. TKW Podcast tonight. Everyone listen up. Anything else to plug?
No, I think you got it.
There we go. Alright. Well, enjoy the game, everybody. We'll talk to you later.
All right. I'm gonna cut this.